Hey, Cactus crew. Hey, guys, going? Thanks for tuning in. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Bill. Welcome to my channel. I hope you stick around. In this video, I'll be going over an old live from 2022. I've been going through Katie's old videos, and this one really stuck out to me because of Katie's body language as she talks about power of attorney in regards to Von Mcray. Struck a nerve in me because watching it, she's very uncomfortable. Her body language is almost like she's nervous or put on the spot because we know she's not an expert on Von Mcray. She's an expert on her own behavior regarding her son. As you know, Katie Joy is the mother of a E.T. quote fingers medically fragile child. He's actually medically complex, but she exaggerates it to the extreme to make him sound like he is worse off than what he really is because Katie Joy competes with other special needs mums. Katie has spoken about guardianship, becoming her son's guardian, not allowing him to leave their house or become independent once he reaches 18 years of age. In this clip, she's talking about the power of attorney and how Dre Mcray, Von Mcray's wife, could get power of attorney because he was in a coma after his attempted suicide. He eventually ended up passing away, which was really sad. Katie is not the expert on Von Mcray. As you watch this, keep in mind that she is speaking from her personal experience and what she has looked up in regards to her son. Think about her son as you watch this because, oh my God, it makes me so uncomfortable. And you can see in her body language, she doesn't want people to know that what she's talking about is really about her son. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, share it, comment below, let me know what you think, and please do consider subscribing. You can follow me on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook at It's Crystal Bill. Everything is my own opinion as someone who's been on this carousel from hell for 5 years. Let's get into it.
But if the doctor suspects that there's any abuse by, say, the wife or the guardian or the POA, they have to report that to Adult Protective Services, okay? So there's a lot of different laws that there are for people that are incapacitated like Vaughn, and one of those is financial exploitation. So it's against the law in the state of Arizona to financially exploit someone who's incapacitated in any way, whether that's taking money from them or, taking out loans in that person's name and they don't know anything. There's so many different laws that you have to follow that you can't abuse someone in the state that Vaughn is in. And so they, as the doctors, are there every single day, and they're going to be the ones that are going to see if anything's happening. And specifically, if there's interference in care, they're going to be the first ones that are going to be having to report it. They're required by law to report it. So my point is, the information that they need to report would be any person having custody of their medical or financial records of a vulnerable adult shall make the records. They basically have to provide all the information, to Adult Protective Services about what they believe is happening, the extent of the abuse, the neglect, or the exploitation. Okay, so there has to be neglect, abuse, or exploitation that's happening to the individual, and then they have to report it to the Adult Protective Services. So the fact that 24 hours a day he's in a hospital where he's surrounded by mandated reporters should tell you that there's literally no reason for anybody to making calls to APS, period.
And Katie Joy actually fires her nurses who speak up about her son, who say that her son is not as medically fragile as she portrays him to be, who doesn't need these nurses for, 48 hours a week. She's abusing the system to portray her son in a worse off situation than what he is. She's not giving her son what he needs. It's what Katie Joy wants. She's also getting property tax exemption because they have a dependent with a disability living underneath their roof.
And because the father is not there and can't see what's happening and Dre's not posting anything, he has nothing to report because anything that he might have seen would have, and he, mind you, they weren't in the same room together. He and Dre were never in the same room together when they were in that VA hospital. There's nothing that he can report. And if the VA had concerns, they would have had to report her to the APS regardless. But again, in the state of Arizona, under the law, she is the automatic decision maker for him because she's a spouse. She doesn't even need to have a POA.
And Katie is the automatic decision maker for her son because he is depending on her. All Katie needed to do was convince her son that he was medically fragile, that he couldn't eat, so that he would be put on a feeding tube and she would get all the benefits from that.
Now, another thing I found was that in the state of Arizona, they've actually created what's called a durable medical healthcare power of attorney, and this can actually be signed by anyone. And it's a form that the Attorney General created a couple years ago, and it gives persons, you and me, if you're a resident of the state of Arizona, the opportunity to make decisions about your long-term care and who is responsible for that. And all of these documents have to be filed and signed by someone with a notary. And I mean, but the form allows people to make the decision of, upon my death, I want an autopsy. I don't want an autopsy. I'd like to donate my organs. What tissues would I want to donate? There's like, what are my wishes? Do I want to be resuscitated? Do I want to stay on life support? That kind of thing. So that's all a part of this durable power of attorney that anyone can sign, and it's basically what's called a healthcare directive. So in the state of Arizona, if you don't want to go through what's happening right now, and if you see what's happening, you're like, oh, this is so sad. I don't want this to find myself in a situation where my loved ones are making decisions that maybe I wouldn't want or desire. Having some sort of healthcare directive is super important. I don't even have one yet, and I'm like, dude, I need to go do one. But the cool thing is that the state of Arizona has a healthcare power of attorney form, and it's free.
I just wanted to jump in here quickly and say that Katie is talking extremely loud. Throughout her whole reporting on Mcray, her son could hear her. Her son has the same name. Her son, during this reporting, was asking about life expectancy.
He wants you to go up there and lay with him. He was asking me questions about like life expectancy, and like he said like,
You guys, I have to go. Mommy time is calling me. I'll be back.
Oh, yeah, you have to go. Oh, my God, you are not equipped to be parents. Holy shit. The poor child thinks that she is talking about him. So let's listen a bit more.
So you don't even need to pay for it. You don't need an attorney. You just have to have it signed by a notary public. But because they're married, they don't actually need to have one. So the only way that Dre is going to be removed would be that she would be reported by someone in the hospital for abuse or neglect, okay? And then a court would have to decide, has she abused or neglected him? And that, again, goes through legal. So a case is created, and then they have all these different channels that they have to go through. And a judge is the one that will make a decision. There's lots of different laws, too, that are designed to protect vulnerable adults. There's the financial exploitation, I think, is a part of it. But, as far as like who can become a POA, if you're in a competent state of mind, so if you are mentally capable of making a decision, you can appoint anyone you want. It can be your spouse, or it could be someone totally different. But once you're in a state where you're incapacitated and you can't make those decisions for yourself, in the case of Vaughn, whether he has a POA or not, it's automatically Andrea, because that's his wife. And again, the only way that that gets removed is if she's deemed to be neglecting, abusing him by a judge. And that would be by someone in Adult Protective Services and at the hospital reporting her to them for that, which she hasn't been.
Exactly. How uncomfortable does Katie Joy look as she is talking about this? She is smiling, flicking her hair, wringing her hands. Her son doesn't know that she has exaggerated his disabilities to the worst. He doesn't know that. He trusts his mum, like every child does. Katie Joy is a narcissist manipulating the system for her advantage. She is getting financial support. She's getting nurses that her son doesn't need. Children out there that need round-the-clock nurses. Her son doesn't need that. But that's how she has manipulated the system to work for her.
By the hospitals. So having somebody report them that's not a mandated reporter, that isn't there during the day, that has no clue what's going on, and going off of hearsay or recommendations by streamers or whoever it is kind of irresponsible, and it will flood APS with unnecessary amounts of calls that are going to clog up their systems that cannot then respond to and help other individuals in need of services. There's a large elderly population in the state of Arizona. I think most of you guys know that. So overwhelming the APS in a smaller area like Yuma is not responsible. So I would just say don't contact them, because, again, he is surrounded by mandated reporters. And the only way that the POA would ever get stripped is by basically a doctor intervening and reporting this to a judge. And
exactly, a doctor intervening in KJ's son's case, a doctor recognizing that she is abusing her son, a doctor, a mandated reporter, which are the nurses, and every time they speak up, she fires them. She threatens to fire them to keep them silent.
I don't see that happening at this point.
Yeah, well, we see a lot. And Katie may say don't report, but that's how 8 passengers That's how Ruby Frank got exposed. So don't listen to Katie about not reporting suspicious behaviour online. She doesn't want you to report her suspicious behaviour online.